Welcome into the latest Betting Weekly Fast Break. I am Doug Kezirian on this Tuesday, and we thought we were going to have a jam-packed show because of 5 games on the slate, and we will. But we also got a big trade with an all-star on the move. Welcome in. I'm Doug Kezirian alongside professional handicapper Albert Nguyen, and wow, things are shaking right now in the W. Good to be with you, Albert, as we have a lot of good betting opportunities as well on today's card.
Yeah, this is going to be a great card. Brittney Sykes news is amazing. I mean, for those who are new to the WNBA, this is the equivalent to, I don't know, I would say like a Kyrie Irving getting trade, like a borderline all-star. What do you think there? Because Brittney Sykes is 31. She's on the back nine of her career. She's going to a Seattle team that is definitely in win now mode, and I know we're going to get into it a lot more. But this to me is like a all-star. It's a fringe all-star guard in my opinion.
Funny, Citron and Kiki were the all-stars, but I think she was their best player, right? So she ended up becoming an all-star as her injury replacement, but she's the leader of that team. She has an edge to her a lot. So I used to call Erica Wheeler the sort of the Chris Paul of the W, but Sykes might be that player. And the reason I said it's ironic is I think she's going to replace Wheeler in the starting lineup, and it's exactly what the Seattle Storm need. For the first time all season, they're off back-to-back losses. They lack shooting, and they lack sort of an urgency and an edge. They play too passive, and I don't love their coach, but Quinn does some things nice, and I don't think she should be fired or anything. I get frustrated with this Seattle team because they're too complacent and they lean on their defense. But I think you can't run the offense through Skylar Diggins. I think she's too methodical in her game, and she's not fast enough. Sykes is the perfect complement and exactly what this team needs. So I think it's this is wide open, right? Nafisa Collier's got injury, but Seattle's got the pieces now. NECA's on the back nine of her career, but they have some nice pieces where they could win it all. I don't think they're going to. I do think the trade really helps them. And we see an adjustment in the market. They're still 19-1 behind the Lynx and Liberty, co-favorites right now at Bet Rivers at plus 150 a pop. Mercury there at 7-1, but they have some internal rumblings right now with Satu Sabali. Who knows what's going on there? The Dream have certainly had a great season. Fever because of the liability, but then the Aces and Storm are right there at 19-1. So it is fascinating. I think this is a great move for the Storm. And Alicia Clark, oldest player in the league, wasn't really playing a whole lot. She does some nice defense, can shoot corner threes, but this was a good move for Seattle.
Yeah, for those who don't know, Brittney Sykes, 31 years old. This is year 9 for her in the league. She's averaging over 15 points a game. Doug mentioned it. Very, very solid shooting, 32% from three, solid free throw shooter, close to 80%. And just having another ball handler to run the offense through is going to be really big for Seattle. You mentioned 19-1, odds for the title. Is that something that excites you?
No. I mean, I think there's just too many domino pieces in the way. I gave out on this show 30-1 and 23-1 with the Mercury, and now they're the third favorite. I still maintain that the Mercury are going to win it all. I don't believe in the Aces. I don't believe in the Liberty. Sorry, I don't believe in the Lynx, and I don't believe in the Liberty. I wouldn't bet the Dream, but honestly, if the Dream won it all, I'd been like, why was I doubting them? Because they have all the pieces. I just think they have a conflict of the Twin Towers meets, pace and space, 3-point shooting offense. Fever, I mean, look, they're playing great, right? They've won what, 5 straight,
5 in a row.
and without Caitlin Clark, and if she's healthy, and they're going to be a tough out. I mean, I think Aaliyah Boston's really underrated. There's just too many teams in the way. The Aces, if they figure stuff out, and Jewel Lloyd plays like she played on Sunday, maybe they can make a run because they have Asia Wilson, and when you have Asia Wilson, anything can happen. So I just think there's too many teams. So the 19-1 would be the only thing I would consider, right? Um, if I'm not going to grab like a plus 950. There's just so many teams in your way. So I would only take long shot value. I thought the Mercury will, and I think they're going to be, when all is said and done, the Mercury are going to have a lead in the like they might be the favorite at some point in the semis with a 1-0 lead or something like that. But no, I wouldn't pull the trigger on the Storm. But I mean, they're getting a legit like player and who's just what they need. They need edge and they need some shooting.
Yeah, the thing with the Seattle Storm, and we've spoken to this, all season long, is they're inconsistent in the way that it depends on their competition. Some nights they may play down to their competition and lose outright to the Wings, and some nights they might play up and play really well against the Liberty and the Lynx and teams like that. The caveat is in the playoffs, everybody's good, Doug. So this could be a sleeper team, moving forward. But that
Sure.
I think Doug hit it right on the button. Is there's just way too many pieces. The route that they have to go through to win the whole thing, to win the title is, beating three elite teams basically back to back to back. It's going to be really tough for them. But Seattle, I like this move. And I think this is one of those rare cases where a trade is a win win for both sides. I think Washington, they allowed Sykes to really cook and really do her thing this entire season. She made the All-Star game, like Doug mentioned, got her stats up, was able to get traded to a contender in Seattle. And Washington was able to, develop some of their young players, Citron especially. And I think getting additional draft capital as they move forward and build towards a future, I think it's only plus for them. I think Washington as a city, I think we're starting to see a semblance of real franchises, right? The Commanders, the I think the Washington basketball team made a couple good moves. Obviously, the Capitals are always going to contend, and then now the Mystics. So I don't know. I like the future for this city, for the sports fans in the DC area.
Yeah, and in terms of the Mystics, they love Sonia Citron, and I do too. I think they just want to run the offense through her. Sug Sutton is good, but I think she's more off the ball. I think they're going to want Citron to play the role of like not Steph, but like a score first point guard. Um, and I think there's just too many mouths to feed from a playmaking standpoint, if that makes sense. So they had Sykes, Sutton, and Citron all starting. I think they just want to. They love Citron, right? She was number 3 overall pick.
He's a
And they
baller.
just want to run the offense through her and surround her with maybe shooters like Inkster's a nice off-ball player. I guess she's going to start now.
Mhm.
So my buddy makes fun of me because Lucy Olson was like, I thought she was awesome last year, and I couldn't believe she fell to whatever the 3rd round. I was like, I would have drafted her top 10. So hopefully she gets more run. I saw her put up 20 something in a win for Iowa over Juju Watkins and USC, and she was blowing everyone off the dribble. She's just so fast, and she can shoot lights out. So maybe she can emerge and be the beneficiary of this trade. And I want to always be proven right, with draft picks. But I love what Sidney Johnson's doing there in DC. He's this team should be great. And with obviously they have the bigs with Kiki and Shakira Austin, and we'll see if Aaliyah Edwards ever gets healthy and can figure some stuff out. So this is exactly what the Storm need, but I'm not pulling the trigger just yet on anything in terms of the futures market. And just want to remind everyone, if you like what you hear on our show, sign up for the newsletter, get exclusive tips and the free Insider magazine. Sign up for free at bettingweeklystudios.com. The weather's also been changing, and that means the WNBA season is going to overlap with football season. So before we get into the 5 games on tonight's slate, and we will momentarily, just want to get you ready for some football. Here's Jimmy Ott.
Join me, Jimmy Ott, and Paul Stone every Tuesday and Thursday on the College Sports Rush YouTube channel. It's our college football conference previews. It's win total over and unders, individual games, picks to win the conference, picks to make it to the college football playoff, picks to win it all, and individual futures as well. It's every Tuesday and Thursday, 4 p.m. Eastern, college football conference previews on the College Sports Rush YouTube channel.
All right, should be a great season on tap. Good to see Jimmy. A couple of weeks ago at Del Mar Racetrack, gave him not one, but 2 WNBA winners, 2-0 on that Sunday. We were at the track that week, and he appreciated it. It was good to see him in person. And that show is in less than 1 hour. So Paul Stone will be on him. They'll be talking Big Ten schedule. So go check that out. College Sports Rush, 1 p.m. Eastern. Sorry, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. And that always gets dropped here on the Bet Rivers Network. So go check that out. Get you ready for the upcoming season. All right, Albert, let's talk. Let's start with the Seattle Storm. It's a night game, so not as many people. Some people will be in bed, but it's an interesting handicap because you have the team with the best record in the W, but they're going to be out their best player. So the Storm are now favored by 2 at home. 156.5 is your over under. And the Lynx are without Nafisa Collier, they're a road dog, and they're in a groove. They just smoked the Aces, and the Storm are off back-to-back losses for the first time all season. So the spot you would think really favors Seattle. Maybe they get a little bounce in their step. Obviously, Brittney Sykes for this game, but this is a team that is a head scratcher. But I have to play the Storm or pass for me on this one. What about you?
I fully agree. I think it is Seattle or nothing at all. I mean, Minnesota, you mentioned it, 100 points and 111 points in back-to-back games. That is incredible offensive efficiency. Seattle coming off two straight losses, both of them at home, both of them against the Sparks and then Indiana Fever without Caitlin Clark. Those are two really bad losses. Let's be honest here. They were favored in both of them. They lost both of them outright pretty much at the end. It was a 50-50 coin flip ending in both games. And they just fell short. So this is a great situational spot for Seattle. But that line, I will err a little side on the side of caution just because that's a little fishy, right? Seattle coming off really bad losses. Fee is out for the most likely the MVP of the league is out for Minnesota, and they're only 2-point underdogs on the road. It's a little fishy. I would still trust it. It's one of those spots where in the NBA, I may not bet it, but I think in the WNBA is a little more straightforward. Let's make an official play for me, Doug. I'm just going to be on the Seattle Storm for sure, -2 tonight.
Okay, so official play for Albert, Storm -2. I'm emotionally scarred because I was on the Storm in the last game against the Fever on the money line, and they cut it to 3. They were just clunky at times, and it was really frustrating. Minnesota, I think, is going to have a lead in the first half. It's really hard to play a team missing their best players. Lynx are well coached. The Storm, I hate their offense. I just hate their mindset of the team. But that's the only side I would play. I certainly don't blame you for that, making it official. I'm just emotionally scarred. Um, and PD chime in, and just a reminder, join the conversation. Let us know your thoughts. What you like, what you dislike on the show, things you want to see, um, stuff like that. And PD says, hey, we want some trade speculation ahead of the Thursday 3 p.m. deadline. So we're in the betting space. We're trying to, react, but maybe there's some futures as we speculate trade deadline. We'll see what other moves are left, but this one came out of nowhere for the Storm. So you like them -2 tonight, hosting the Minnesota Lynx without Nafisa Collier. Revenge spot with the New York Liberty, who just won in a revenge spot on Sunday after losing to the Sun on Friday. So the New York Liberty now 10.5-point home favorites with the Dallas Wings in town. New York just lost outright as about a double-digit favorite to Dallas. Now, Libs still without Brianna Stewart. Sabrina Ionescu has been the focal point of the offense. She's been great. This game on national television on NBA TV. Dallas laid an egg in that fourth quarter, but the Liberty were unable to come back and get the win. They just narrowed the gap, came back from like 25 down or something. So, what do you make of this game? The spot screams Liberty, but this is a team that just can't cover. They've failed against cover the spread in 5 straight. I don't believe in them. I've been fading against them. I was on the Sun on Sunday. I'm holding my powder here because I think the Wings can certainly lay an egg with the best of them.
Yeah, especially in that fourth quarter, right? We talk about the WNBA fourth quarters all year. It's a phenomenon. They might be averaging 20 to 25 points heading into that fourth quarter per quarter, heading to the fourth, and then score 7, right? It is what it is. That's just the nature of the beast when we talk about WNBA betting. For this game in particular, I don't have a strong sense on the side or the total, but I do expect New York to continue to run and gun. And without Brianna Stewart, you mentioned it, Sabrina has really played well. I thought she would struggle a little bit, to be honest, because we know she's not the slightest of foot. She's not great at getting off her own shot, but she's what she's doing. And for those who haven't watched, she's just shooting from further out. Like this is like 35-year-old Steph Curry. Like he's hard. It's hard for him to get around people now, and he's just shooting from 30 and 35 feet. Sabrina's doing the same. I'm going to watch this game just because I want to watch the Paige Beckers Sabrina one-on-one matchup, and we'll see that throughout the game, I think. But I think for the most part, New York is going to hide Sabrina on defense, and you've seen her You've seen the team do that, which allows her to have a lot more energy on the offense because it's basically her offense. It's her focal point. And so I if I bet a side here, it's on the screen for those who are watching YouTube live right now. I do like the Liberty team total at over 94.5.
I mean, that's a monster number in a WNBA game, 94.5. Now, we are talking about the Wings defense, and they're not afraid to chuck early, specifically Arike Gumbawale. Are we getting her and Paige to play tonight? You last check. You never know with them,
It looks like
with
they're both,
a late scratch, so to speak.
yeah, it looks like they are both in tonight.
So the Liberty, just to, like I was saying, but we want to recap. They held the Dallas Wings to 29 points in the second half the other day, including 7 in the fourth quarter, but they still lost by 10. The Wings were just limping to the finish line after dropping 63 in the first half. They led by 27, excuse me, at halftime. I just think that was a fluke. I do think the Liberty roll here. I'm just not in a rush because they got a quote unquote big win because they lost to the Sun on Friday as a double digit road favorite. Now it's a bus trip, but it's a road favorite. And then they come back and we're up 15 late, and then the Sun close and backdoor the heck out of it. So I do think the Liberty are probably the right side. It's just Arike. If she goes 7 for 18, then they cover. If she's 1 for 14, like she can be, then they don't. Paige is still passive and deferential, but although she's developing more of a selfish bone that they really need and need her to adopt, and she's getting there, but she's just so efficient, lets the game come to her. I just think the Liberty are starting to learn how to play without Stewie, and we're seeing that with the Fever. I think the Liberty are in that groove. I think the Connecticut Sun are pretty good. Let me rephrase that. I think the Sun are not the worst team in the league. So even though they only have 5 wins or whatever. So seeing the Liberty struggle in stretches, I think the Sun play really hard, and they can shoot the ball at times, and they can play really well. So that backdoor cover allowing that's not the worst thing in the world. So this could be a spot where the Liberty roll here.
It could be a spot where the team rolls, but if you guys want to, isolate one player, I think Sabrina's going to roll individually, right? So if you look into her points prop, she's going to have all the usage rates. She's going to have all the 3-point attempts. She's a great free throw shooter. So if that's a player, if you're in the player prop market, I do think there's value there because we know that the Dallas Wings don't guard on the perimeter, and then when the other team is able to penetrate into the inside, they don't really have any rim protection either. So maybe ride Sabrina.
So her point prop is 23.5. She actually had one shy of her career high. I think her career high was 37, and she had 36 in the last game. And she only had, I think, had like 1 3. She let the game come to her. She drove a bunch. She had 18, I think, in the first quarter. It's just one of those games where she started out red hot. Couple things I want to ask you. I was getting into it, or sort of. Some guy was, his Liberty and his Twitter avatar and stuff. But I was mocking the broadcast for saying Sabrina is an MVP candidate. Now, look, I'm saying I have no problem with her getting votes 3 through 5, but she won't get a single first place vote. I think of a candidate as someone who can actually win, not discussion, whatever. There's been a move in the market with Collier being out at least 2 weeks. Now, it's only 4 games, but Alyssa Thomas has been gone from like around 7-1 to plus 390, and Sabrina's gone from about 100-1 to 20-1. Would you take a flyer on Sabrina even at this adjusted price? I would not, because I don't think they're going to win enough. I mean, they're 8-10 in the last 18 over that stretch. And Stewie's missed time, and so is Jonquel Jones. I don't think she's in the discussion. And frankly, I think Alicia Gray is more in the discussion, if anything.
People are going to flame me in the comments for this, but I think this is a discount for Collier. Like, just get the minus 1,000. She's going to win it, guys. Like, if she doesn't win it, go to my Twitter and
I guess I was talking injury. I was talking if this injury is more than just 2 weeks. It's a sprained left ankle, I want to say. That's my put. It's like, what if this is a lingering issue and she misses a lot more time?
If it's more than 2 weeks, and it could be, maybe the remain of the regular season, and they want her to be 100% for the playoffs, that could be something. But I don't see it, Doug. I don't see any value with the others. You'll get great CLV, right? If you were gonna, isolate or identify one or two of those players from Gray to Thomas, and they play really well in the next 2 weeks, you're gonna get amazing CLV. Let's be honest there. But CLV doesn't really cash tickets, right? So at the end of the day, for me, it's a no bet here because I think the decision has already I think it's already fee. And I think if it wasn't so clear cut, I wouldn't be surprised if she like rushed back because I think it's important to her.
I agree that it's a done deal, and but these awards markets in all sports are so fickle. It's they love prioritizing the end of the season. Now, nothing like the Heisman. The Heisman is the most "What have you done for me lately?" I do think fee is probably cheap at -1,000. Um, AT's interesting. We'll get into the Mercury momentarily, but the Sabali component, they're like she's carrying that team, and she's a walking triple double. I'm just rooting against her because I got screwed with the voting a couple years ago where I stood to make heavy six figures because she started 50 to 1 the beginning of the season. And it came down to a stupid vote at the end. Like, but I do think it's fee. But if Alicia Gray carries this team, I don't know. I guess I'm just worried about them losing the 1 seed and, blah, blah, blah. But, she's only supposed to miss 4 games and the Liberty are still 5.5 back and don't have Stewie. I don't know.
That's the thing.
It was worth discussing. It was worth discussing.
Yeah, definitely. Let's talk it out. So if she were to miss minimum is 4 games, let's just say 6 games, right? That
Okay,
means they have to
that's
lose
fine.
they have to lose all six, and the Liberty have to win all of their next six just for the Liberty to tie them to catch them. I mean, that's a
Well, and what to interrupt you, and wouldn't losing all 6 help her MVP costs?
yes, it would. Yes, it would. And then like once she comes back, you don't expect them to continue losing, right? So I think when people look at standings and they see 5.5 games, they think it's really easy to do. Let's just have Liberty win 5 in a row and they'll be right there. But it also requires the team that you're chasing to go winless as well. And I just don't see a team like the Minnesota Lynx go winless even without Nafisa.
Well, they do have 3 more meetings together. I'll throw that out there. Remember that last week was the first of 4, so that's part of the equation. But you're right. Like if the Lynx stumble, that's going to help her MVP cause. And if they win, let's say they go 2-4 if it's 6 games or something, then they're going to end up with the 1 seed, and that's going to also help. So you're right. -1,000 is probably a huge, huge discount because she was like 2,000, prior to the injury. So something to file away. We've seen some significant line movement in our next game that we want to discuss, and that's the Mystics visiting the Chicago Sky. This number's 6.5. Now, we knew Angel Reese was out, so it's gone from like about 3.5 to 6.5, but no Brittney Sykes now, and the number's unchanged. And I would look at Citron props because I think they're going to do more offense. This Sky team stinks. Now, I'm going to kick myself. I've said it a few times. I thought they were figuring out their offense. I thought, okay, so they've learned to play without Angel, Phantom bombs. Rebecca Allen can shoot, and they're finding ways to generate points, but they just don't. They go through scoring lulls, and it's pathetic. And I can't believe I've ever been involved in a Chicago Sky over the last couple games. Before that, I was cashing them, so maybe I should go easy on myself. But it's a big number for a team, but the Mystics push the pace, and they can score at will.
Ariel Atkins is back for Chicago tonight, so that should help them a
Oh,
lot. Yeah, that should
yeah.
help them a lot because she's, pretty explosive on the perimeter. I think this line is fishy for me just because we know from a head-to-head standpoint, the Mystics have dominated this matchup. I think they've won 9 out of 10. Chicago overall has lost 8 straight games, hasn't covered in any of those. That's the worst that you can do. We're talking about 15.5 point spreads, 12.5 point spreads. They're still getting blown out and not covering. So they've been playing way below expectations with or without Angel Reese. This to me is a potential flat spot for Washington, not only because of
Even
the
after the trade, even
yeah,
after the shaking of the cage with the trade.
yes. So not only the trade news, but also all the things I mentioned. They've dominated the Sky team, and now they're coming in without, not worrying about Angel Reese. So to me, this is a Chicago Sky player, nothing at all. It is just scary just because we know how bad their offense has been. But Ariel Atkins is a big, big boost for them.
I really like her. She's going to help their offense. Now, this team, I was on the over for this game, so that at least makes me feel a little better. And the last time they played, which is like a week or so ago, they combined for 189 points. Now, Angel went for 22 and 13, and I've been keeping this to myself a little bit. The reason I like the over is her and Shakira Austin get into it, and they play and, like, bang around, and the refs are so afraid of brawls or something, and Angel complaining about the officiating, so that they're both getting whistles right away. So it leads to free throws, bonus, all that stuff. Now, she's out for this game, but Shakira Austin, so Ariel Atkins playing, oh god, I might have to take the bait. Um, I don't know, because Van Lith plays and she's awful and methodical in offense, and she stinks. And the Mystics just want to run up and down. The problem is Sykes is part of that up and down pace, so they'll still do it. I just have to respect the market that it's come down a little bit. But man, Atkins playing, I would look at the over. Honestly, you're
Mm.
right. Atkins with this offense with Banham. Now they have another point guard they just got, and her name is Uzun is the last name. She's a more traditional point guard. She's from Turkey, and that enables Banham to play off the ball, and now Atkins as well. And you saw the graphic on the screen a moment ago. Her points prop is 10.5. So I think that we're going to see some points just because the Mystics score so quickly. They run up and down, and man, I would look at the over here. I really would, even without Angel Reese, because I think the Mystics want to push. Sidney Johnson's a good coach. I think the Mystics will have a little bounce in their step. The trade of Angel Reese, sorry, the trade of Brittney Sykes. Citron 15.5 points. I think that number's right. Like she had 8 the other day going into the fourth and then had like 10 in the quarter. She will get her offense. It just might be 14, 18, because they might spread the wealth. I just wonder if she's the new point guard and she's going to be asked to more facilitate and distribute. So this is a tricky handicap. I think the line does stink to your point, but it's also the Mystics coming in without their best player, right? Brittney Sykes was arguably their best player.
Yeah. I would say Arrow. This is a conspiracy theorist in me, Doug. I think Arrow Atkins is playing tonight to audition to get traded. If she,
Ooh,
I think if she's
ooh.
gonna blow over this 10.5 point prop, and I think she will. I think she's really gonna take a lot of shots tonight. I think she'll be traded to a fringe contender or a contender because I think she's a great perimeter guard that gives them a lot of
Yes.
explosiveness, that can shoot, that can play the pick and roll game, and it just doesn't fit right now with an Angel Reese team that is moving forward with this two towers thing, which I don't think it works, but it allows Angel
Wow.
Reese to
Well, Cardoso stinks. She doesn't work on any team.
but it allows Angel Reese to actually run the offense from the high post, which we've seen in spurts this season that it has been efficient. But I think that's
Yeah.
what they want, and maybe that's what Angel Reese wants. Maybe Angel Reese wants to have the ball more in her hands and maybe facilitate a little more as her career goes on. And if that's what she wants, I think Erica Atkins is someone that might be on the move.
Okay. That's a good theory. I'm trying to think of other contenders that may want her because they're all kind of guard heavy. I'll tell you what, the Storm would have been a nice play, but they just got Brittany Sykes. I don't think the Dream need her because they have Jordan Canada and Gray. Maybe she's can be offense off the bench for a team like the
Liberty,
Liberty, maybe?
Liberty,
Yeah. But
or
and
even,
the Lynx just got Dejanay Carrington, so
yeah.
hmm,
I mean, who would you rather have, Arrow Atkins or Enrique?
for like this season,
Just
Atkins. I
yeah,
think Enrique stinks.
yeah. Just in general, I think she's the more her floor is higher than Enrique's. Obviously,
Right.
Enrique can
Right.
get hot and make 6 threes in a game, and like she'll win the game for you. But for someone, if you're looking for a winning player that raises your floor, like a Derek White in the NBA, I think Arrow Atkins is that perfect fit. So Liberty, Aces, Lynx, all these contenders. If she's the first scorer off the bench, I mean that's a huge asset.
That's interesting. I like that comparison. The Derek White of the W. That's a great pull. Hey, by the way, I had one that I think is unbeatable. I texted you about it. You didn't get back to me.
Which one?
Fag Benlay on the Valkyries is Kevin Willis.
Yes. Yeah.
The the double knee pad, the agile big man who can run the floor. The double knee pad was the tell for me.
Yeah. So
All right, so
not only the playing style, but the aesthetic looks. Yeah, for sure.
yeah. That's great, and like a really solid 4, you know? All right, so nothing official Mystic Sky. I was looking at, you know, maybe some props that flashed on the screen. Adam Osimo saying, you know, he likes over 10.5 for Atkins. And Ryan Huffman saying, is it time to give the Sky the crown as the worst team in the WNBA? I agree. I don't think it's the
Yes.
Sun.
Yes.
I think it's the Sky. But don't forget about the Wings. They're pretty bad too. As much as good as Paige is, you know, she's really really good. Okay, we'll keep it moving here. A couple more games to get to. Fever visit the Sparks. This is also national television, CBS Sports Network. No Caitlin Clark again, and this should be a great game. This is the highest scoring game expected on the card, 179. Sparks off a great win in Seattle, triple overtime, if I'm not mistaken. They had the lead a couple times to win in regulation, double OT, and then the Storm kept fighting. So they lose to the Aces at home after winning 5 straight on the with a lot of those on the road. Then they come home, lose, go to Seattle, win in triple overtime. Now they're back home where they're not good. They're not good at home, and they host this Fever team that's ripping off wins left and right. I think it's a fade of the Fever, if anything. But the problem is, I think the Fever are pretty good, right? Like Kelsey Mitchell's legit, Aaliyah Boston's legit. Um, they figured out Ari McDonald and then Colson off the bench. Sophie Cunningham can't miss a 3 lately, since and you know, rejuvenated or invigorated by her new podcast. So they're not a team I'm running to the window to fade either. I think over's the play. I don't want to overthink this. I think 178's on the cheap side.
Sophie Cunningham is shooting like 60% from three in the last month. It is absurd. And I think, you're going to get eventual progression there back to the mean, whether it's 35 or 30%. That's going to hurt the Fever because they rely a lot on her threes. She hits really timely ones. I agree with you on the over here. There's a couple comments I want to make on this game. I wish we could see Plum, Caitlin Clark. That would have been, box office just to watch them guard each other and play against each other.
Right.
And then the second thing is Caitlin Clark going to be healthy this year? This is a nagging groin injury she's been dealing with all season long. I don't know.
And it's just further evaluation. Like we don't have any timeline. We don't know. They could be shutting her down and playing the long game for all we know. Maybe it's playoffs only. I don't know. Obviously her long-term health is paramount and the priority, but you're right. We don't have a concrete answer or any sort of information.
Yeah, I mean, for this game in particular, I'm on the same side as Doug. I would fade the Fever here just because they've been on fire. They've been playing really, really well without Caitlin Clark. And, that's credit to them because they have a great team. And that's why they were, preseason, one of the preseason favorites heading into the season. They really built around Caitlin Clark. But you don't expect this type of production to continue. Also, big rest disadvantage today. I think they just played two. This is their third game, not huge, third game in 5 nights, but the Sparks have actually had 3 nights off. So they're very well rested and they're home. I like the Sparks here to put a ton of points on the board. The Fever will be running and gunning. The over makes a lot of sense in this game. All right, let's make it official. I'll join Doug here on the over 178. I think we see a lot of points.
Yeah, I'm making it official too because I was on the over in the Fever Wings game. I beat the market by 7.5 points on a total. And it went under because the Wings, the Wings, and they just kind of hit a wall. I don't think the Sparks will. I think they're going to push. I think the Bigs can eat. The only way I see this not hitting is if they just miss threes, right? Or because the Wings, I think, were like 1 of 14 in that game for three or something like that. But the Bigs just guard each other well. Like the Sparks can score in the paint with Hamby, um, even like Rakia Jackson and Azare Stevens crashing. But if Howard and Boston defend well, then they kind of cancel each other out. I think we're going to see some points. We're going to see a nice up and down game. You lean Sparks, but what concern or whatever? How much stock do you put into their bad home court record?
No, there's definitely some substance to that. Just because the LA hangover, if you will, affects the home team too. And I think this is a classic case of you expect the Sparks to come out and take care of their home court there in LA. But um, Yeah, I mean, it's hard. I mean, they've been without Cameron Brink, right, for the majority of the season. She just came back, so that should help them in terms of not only covering at home but covering in general. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's one of those phenomena. I mean, like it's just like the Lakers and Clippers. They rely on this quote unquote LA hangover, but sometimes the home team also goes out the night before. So
Right. For what it's worth, LA 18-8-1 to the over this year, by far the best record to the overs this season. Indy kind of 500 ball, but you don't know. I don't know which games are Caitlin Clark and all that stuff. But I expect an over, so I'm betting that. The ugliest game on the board, but every ticket cash is the same, right? Mercury double digit home favorites here with the Connecticut Sun, the lowly Connecticut Sun in town, over under 169. Now, Connecticut had just had two emotional games at home against the Liberty, kind of a rival. They're playing really hard. I do think this is a bad spot for Connecticut, a really bad spot, but it's also not the greatest spot for the Mercury. They just waxed the Sky to wrap up a road trip, covered the number of like 12 and a half. They won by 17, 18. Sky played well to close it. So I think this number feels right. Mercury might play with their food to start, but the Sun, I just don't know what I'm gonna get. I like them in certain matchups. I just think Alyssa Thomas is gonna eat all day. I just with There's some issues with Sabali. Like she was out the last game for personal reasons, and there may be a rift internally there with the coach. And that means Kalea Copper could go off. She had a big game in her last game, but that was against her former team, Chicago Sky, where she won a title and was finals MVP. So a little bounce in her step there, being back to her former stomping grounds. I think this is a sleepy game. So I would look under, but this could be a sleepy game defensively, and both offenses just shoot lights out. I have to pass. This number feels right. It's an ugly game. I don't want to watch it.
I'm also going to pass, but I'll make a case for the Sun if you wanted some action there. They are 7-3 against the spread in the last 10. They're even though they're the worst team in the league record wise, they are above 500 against the spread. So not the worst, to be honest, because a lot of the times when we look at the ATS record, it determines what they are, what their expectations are, right, within the market. And so, they're sitting at 14-13 against the spread. That's solid, to be honest. And they've always played pretty tough at home. Where they've really been challenged this year is on the road. I think they're either winless on the road or 1-11 on the road, something like that. So they haven't had any big road wins. Not saying tonight is the night, but Phoenix is coming off a long road trip themselves. And Doug mentions this, several times throughout the year. It's that first game back after a long road trip that players might not be, up to snuff. So I wouldn't back Phoenix here, to be honest. I think it's a Sun play or nothing at all for me.
Yeah, it's a big number, so maybe Sun or pass. You're right. It's a Malinsky special. We just talked about it on Betting Weekly Hardball. The Dodgers were in that spot last night as big favorites over the St. Louis Cardinals, and the Cardinals broke a 2-2 game in the ninth with a run and won 3-2. So that first game back, it's a groggy team. And so maybe Sun first half, but the problem is the Mercury can just flip that switch and they bomb threes. And the Sun just aren't that good. I mean, I like the fact that now that they're healthy with Mabry back, Tina Charles will get hers. They have some nice pieces around Mabry that are okay. Um, Hartley's playing well. I love Sanaya Rivers. Anisha Morrow's strong, and she's getting double-digit rebounds these days. It's Sun or pass, but I'm going to pass,
Oh, and
thankfully. So I go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah, and we need to bring up to the point that this team just the franchise just got acquired. The franchise got acquired. They're
Yeah.
moving to Boston in the next 18 months, within the next 18 months. So I think that is going to be exciting for the players, whether it's the current players or future players wanting to live in Boston. I think that's a big deal. And I don't know. I think we're gonna see the Sun continue to be somewhat competitive to the spread, not winning outright the money line, but to the spread. And I think it's another spot tonight where plus 15 is a little enticing for me. But two bets already. I think two is enough for a full slate like tonight. I'm looking to go 2-0.
All right, there, and for what it's worth in the market, it's been steaming a little bit to the over. So if you're itching to play the total, I would say over instead of the under. So two official plays for you, Albert. Seattle Storm -2 off back-to-back losses for the first time in their careers. They host the Minnesota Lynx without Nafisa Collier. And then the over in the Fever Sparks game 178. I'm on that play as well, the over. And I'm also on the over in Chicago. I'm going to go back to the well with the Sky now that Atkins is back, and you got the Mystics in town who love to push pace, and it's a low number, over 156 and a half. Okay, that's going to do it for this edition of Betting Weekly Fast Break. We always appreciate you tuning in and joining us. A lot of good stuff. We'll be back. So, Albert, you're back on baseball tomorrow. So, you're back with me on Betting Weekly Hardball, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. The next Fast Break show you'll be on will be on Friday with Sarah. And so, Wes Reynolds and I will be back tomorrow on Betting Weekly Fast Break as well. So, for Albert Nguyen and everyone else behind the scenes who does all the heavy lifting with producing, graphics, research, you name it, directing, I'm Doug Kezirian. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.